What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the next big film that is coming from Marvel Studios. Now, if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, this is your spoiler alert, because we will be talking about what happens in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, a bunch of rumors have been going around about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but that's exactly what it is. It's going to be a multiverse movie, and it's going to be madness. It's going to be crazy. So there's just a ton of stuff that could possibly happen, especially since Spider-Man No Way Home brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So of course, after Spider-Man No Way Home, we're starting to wonder, could there be cameos in Multiverse of Madness, and who exactly could they be? In this video, we'll go over the top cameos that I want to see in Multiverse of Madness, and thank you to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. More on them in a bit. Spider-Man No Way Home really did change the game because, again, they brought back Tobey and Andrew. And they did it in a film that wasn't exactly truly about the multiverse. Yes, the multiverse came into the picture in the movie, and that's how all of the villains came in, but first and foremost, it was a Spider-Man movie. This movie, however, Doctor Strange 2, is literally called Multiverse of Madness. And some of the cast members have literally said the word bonkers when referring to this movie, which leads me to believe that yes, there will be some crazy cool cameos. The question is, who? And like I said, the possibilities are endless. They brought back original Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home, so they could bring back some original characters from the old Fox universe. So that means we are talking the original X-Men, the original Fantastic Four. Deadpool could show up and make his MCU debut. In fact, I have an interesting theory about that. And then of course there could be different variants of characters that we already know, and new characters could possibly be introduced. Now, we already know the cast that is confirmed to be in the film. Of course, we have Doctor Strange himself, then we have Wong, Christine Palmer, Carl Mordo making his return, America Chavez making her MCU debut, the Scarlet Witch, and who we believe to be Strange Supreme. And then we have Gargantos, who is mistaken for Shumagorath a lot. We're not sure why it's not Shumagorath and why it's Gargantos. Maybe the studios don't have the rights to use that characters, but this is definitely Gargantos. And then of course there are some side characters like Dr. West, who we really aren't going to focus on, because the excitement comes from the big names who could show up. For example, right now, a lot of people really want Tom Cruise to show up as Iron Man. There's a ton of fan art for him, and a lot of people are fan casting him, and here's why. Originally, Marvel Studios approached Tom Cruise to be Iron Man in the MCU before Robert Downey Jr., but he turned it down. So if the multiverse was real, there would be a world where we would have a different universe where Tom Cruise would be playing Iron Man. He would be a variant. And this is where things get very interesting and very exciting, and we have a lot more to talk about, but first, and a big thank you to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that delivers awesome, top-shelf, cool products to you each month, such as outdoor gear, barware, kitchen and home goods, clothing, and even more. They sent me 3 boxes myself to have, and I am personally in love with these boxes. This is the Terra, and in the Terra box you get the ultimate tool. This is actually an award-winning knife based off the Japanese Hori Hori, which is a multi-purpose gardening tool. And the really cool thing about Bespoke Post is that they purchase 90% of their products in the boxes from small businesses. In fact, this is made by Bare Bones, which is based in Salt Lake, which is right around the corner from me. The next box they sent me was the Retreat, and it had something in it that I've always wanted, a hammock, and it also came with an on-the-go blanket. This is perfect if you go camping or hammocking, or if you just want to put it up in your backyard. And the last box they sent me is the Trail Box, which I really do love. In it has the book Surviving the Great Outdoors, which is filled with indispensable tips on surviving in any environment. It also has a pocket saw with nylon straps. It has a gut hook knife, which is a beast of a blade designed for hunting and skinning. It has a paracord bracelet, and it comes with a field box to keep your outdoor goods safe and organized. Every box has about $70 worth of things in retail value, but only costs $45. When you become a member, you take a quiz which helps them determine what to send you. Each month, you get assigned a box, but you get to preview what you get before it ships out, so you can 1. Keep it, 2. Swap it for a different box, or 3. Skip the month entirely for no charge. Only pay for what you want. To get 20% off your first box, click the link in the description and enter code CosmicWonder20 at checkout, or go to bspk.me/CosmicWonder20. Now, continuing with my variant theory, Tom Cruise showing up as a variant version of Tony Stark / Iron Man, the same situation kind of happened for Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt met with Marvel Studios about the role of Black Widow before Scarlett Johansson had landed the role. Ultimately, Emily Blunt would pass on the role because she was already contracted for another film, Gulliver's Travels. So again, if the multiverse was real in real life, we would have a different universe where Emily Blunt was actually cast as Black Widow. And the same actually goes for her husband, John Krasinski, the person that everyone in the world wants to play Mr. Fantastic, including myself. I think he would make a great Mr. Fantastic. But originally, John Krasinski auditioned for the role of Captain America. Now, this isn't somewhat of the same situation that Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt had because Marvel Studios wanted them for the role. However, Marvel Studios wanted Chris Evans for the role of Captain America, and that's what they got. But still, an alternate universe exists somewhere out there where John Krasinski actually landed the role of Captain America originally. So, when exploring the multiverse and Multiverse of Madness, and since it is going to be madness, we can assume they're going to explore many different universes. Perhaps we stumble upon a universe where all of these characters are actually played by these other actors. I think this would be really cool and pretty meta. However, I don't think it would be as cool as bringing back some of the original X-Men and some of the original Fantastic Four. And I have a little bit of reason to believe that at least some of the X-Men could be returning because over a year ago, Patrick Stewart admitted in an interview that he met with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. This was in late 2020, but he said, "I met with Kevin Feige a couple of months ago and we had long conversations, and there have been moves and suggestions which include Charles Xavier. Here's the problem. If we had not made Logan, then yes, I would probably be ready to get into that wheelchair one more time and be Charles Xavier, but Logan changed all that." And I totally get all that. However, it could just be a variant of the character, which means nothing would undo the death of Logan. It could still be Charles Xavier played by Patrick Stewart, but from a completely different universe. The same thing goes for Wolverine. Hugh Jackman has stated many times that Logan was as well the end for his character and him playing Wolverine. Both of the actors said that since both of their characters died in the films, they kind of put them to rest in real life as well. But now we have a film where they could come back and reprise their roles as the character and not undo anything that has been done in the past. They don't have to undo their deaths. And even though they say they're not coming back, remember, Andrew Garfield also said that he wasn't the werewolf, but there he was in Spider-Man No Way Home. Just saying. And not to mention, I think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man could be coming in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as well. If you think back to Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, when Doc Ock first shows up, the Daily Bugle is trying to think of a name for him, in which Doctor Strange is thrown out there, and JJJ says that's pretty good, but it's taken, telling us that there is in fact a Doctor Strange in the universe where Tobey Maguire comes from.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good, but it's taken.
And although Tobey might not be a main character of Multiverse of Madness, since there is a variant of Doctor Strange in his universe, it would make sense that maybe we see him again. Now, keeping it up with original actors returning, since we are getting a new Blade in the MCU, it would be kind of cool to see Wesley Snipes return as Blade and bring Ryan Reynolds with him. For those of you who haven't watched the Blade series, Ryan Reynolds is in Blade. So it would be really cool to see the original Blade, Wesley Snipes, and Ryan Reynolds pop up alongside of him. Now, something I would really love to see is a cameo from the Fantastic Four, even if it's just one of them. And if I had to choose, I would definitely choose Chris Evans because that would just be hilarious. I would love for Chris Evans to cameo as the Human Torch. And it would be great if somebody made a joke stating like, hey, look, it's Captain America, but he would have no idea what he's talking about and say, nope, I'm the Human Torch of the Fantastic Four. I think this would be a fantastic opportunity. Now, I'd also love to see Jessica Alba and the rest of the original Fantastic Four as well. And since they're scientists, they might have already kind of stumbled upon the multiverse themselves. So if Doctor Strange came through a portal, it might not even be that big of a surprise to them. Now, with Deadpool, I think there's a good opportunity here to get him into the main MCU. I don't think it should happen in this movie, but I think he should be somewhat teased. I think Deadpool should learn about the main MCU in Multiverse of Madness. Whether that's him accidentally stumbling into the MCU or Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch and everybody else kind of going to his universe and he finds out what's happening. Whatever it takes to make him realize that there's a main MCU timeline and his timeline is not the main one. Since he can break the fourth wall, it's a perfect opportunity for him to go, well, my timeline sucks. I gotta get to that timeline. And then, in his actual movie, Deadpool 3, they could do a Deadpool Kills the Fox Universe movie. This is where Deadpool could go on a huge killing spree, killing all of the old Fox X-Men characters, Fantastic Four, everybody from his universe, and then he ends up in the MCU. I think that would be a pretty cool segue, especially since he can break the fourth wall. Now here's something I think a lot of people will really like. Since Charlie Cox returned as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil in Spider-Man No Way Home, and Vinny D returned as Kingpin in Hawkeye, I think it would be incredibly cool if we saw other characters return in Multiverse of Madness like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and of course, John returning as the Punisher. I'm not sure if all of these actors are going to be back in the MCU like Daredevil and Kingpin, but if they're not, seeing them in Multiverse of Madness would still be really, really cool. Although right now it's kind of up in the air on whether or not the Netflix series were actually canon to the MCU. We'll get more clarity on that down the road. Now, as far as new characters are concerned, I would love to see somebody like Doctor Doom introduced in Multiverse of Madness because he is a mystical character and possibly the greatest Marvel villain to ever exist. But he has ties to Doctor Strange in the comics, he has ties to Wanda, he has ties to Mephisto. And I think if we're having a movie that is widely magically based, it would be a great opportunity to bring Victor Von Doom into the picture. Now, the Multiverse of Madness could probably bring a lot of different villains and heroes that are new into the universe. But I think you gotta be careful. I think that most of these, if they happen, are going to be cameos, which is fine. They stay in their own universes or get caught in ours a little bit. But I think when you introduce a lot of new characters at one time, it gets a little bit messy. So I'm good with just sticking to Doctor Doom being the new one that comes in. And these are the characters I think will be in Multiverse of Madness and who I really, really would just love to see. And let me know who you would love to see in Multiverse of Madness in the comments down below. Remember, it's the Multiverse of Madness. Anything is possible and this movie is going to be bonkers. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.